bless you. Everyone, bless you all. I'm making this video for clarity for everyone on what a true friend is and how to be a true friend. How to be just an upstanding pal. A true friend is golden. Okay, and we're meant to respect and love each other, and that means be friends with each other, be true friends. And so, being able to accomplish that is actually quite a feat, because you have to be that to yourself, your own being, before you can really be it to another. So it takes some skills in the home department. Yeah, and so everyone can do it. It's of course, obviously. It really does take learning how to come from a kind, loving, kind of situational perspective rather than like another perspective. And it takes some skills to hone in on that and to focus in on that, because everything can be viewed in different ways, right? And so it's like there's all relative truth. Like there's everything. There's a final truth, obviously, but there's different ways that everything observes it and absorbs it and moves through it and experiences the truth of themselves. And so everything is a learning, growing experience with everyone. And so I applaud everyone for learning and growing and for doing what they can to be the best they can. Like, that's great. You guys are doing great. Keep it up, right? Like, it's important to respect all that we are. It's beautiful to respect yourself. You know, like, really, it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's not enough credit given to actual self-respect. And that's kind of sad, because like it's the greatest thing. Like, you're meant to respect your body. You're meant to respect the thoughts and everything that you have going on. You're meant to respect everything. The birds, the bees, you know, it's the squirrels in the trees, right? Like in real reels. Like, that respect is actually a form of sharing energy correctly. And it's like, it's kind of like, it's the way to fix like the grinding, friction based reality that everyone's kind of stuck in, the fear based friction based. The way to fix that is for everyone to just like reciprocate energy in a nicer way. Like, to be more keen on reciprocating energy in a loving, kind way, but not just hoarding energy, like not trying to just like vamp it and steal it, but actually being a part of emanating energy to others in a loving way, and being willing to do that and sharing in that experience. And that is being a friend. Like, you come at me with anything and I say, hey, you know, I love you, here's some energy, I'll sustain you, I'll help you, you know. And so that is what being a true friend to yourself really is, because you create the environment for what you need to have that energy within you, so that you can overflow your cup, so to speak, into others and give it to them freely and kindly in a way that's loving. Like, you have no motive other than loving them. You're like, oh shoot, you skin your knee, here's a band-aid. Oh, you're thirsty, here's a cup of cold, nice, beautiful water. You know? So, stuff like that. Like, it's important for us to look past a lot of the societal views of what society tells us things are, because a lot of it's really mistaken. And so it's not, we're not meant to like just, we don't have to like attack it, we don't have to do, we just have to look at what true is, and so you can look past the false and see the true, and you can go, okay, and this is a situation, this is that, and blah blah blah. And so from seeing that, it's easier to live, like ultimately, like it's easier for everyone to have less stress in their life, for everyone. Like, I know there's been silly bad stuff on our planet. Here's the thing is, everyone's been doing it to themselves, so you've been hurting yourself. And so now you can shoulder that in truth, because it's true, and and change patterns, right, into something that's more like cohesive and works better and more functional, right? And that is genius. Because that's like integrating yourself with yourself. That's like being connected fully on all, like, whole body universally with everything. And you are no longer you're no longer attached to individual successes in the way that most people are, like most beings are. Like everyone that succeeds is a joy, because you're all connected energetically anyway. So you're like, really, you get over greed. Get over greed. You're like over it, like done. I'm over greed. Like you couldn't pay me $1 trillion, gazillion dollars and make me be greedy. Never. No, I couldn't do it. So, so like energetics, right? Like being a friend, a true friend to yourself, is like taking care energetically of what you need in your body system and then emanating it to others in the same fashion, in a kind fashion, in a loving fashion. Like, obviously, if you need to do whatever, you defend your being, and like, obviously don't be a pushover in any way. Like, be just power in yourself, and be calm and kind and mean it. You have to mean it. Like, this is one of the biggest things, the biggest stumbling block is that, like, true intentions, you gotta mean it. You gotta mean it. You gotta mean it. You gotta have true intentions. If you don't have true intentions, you don't have true intentions. You gotta mean it. You have to want to, like, you have to be wanting to love yourself and to be kind to yourself. Like, if you fall down and stub your toe, the first response, that kind of first response, like, that can't be a first response. Can't be, because if that's the first response, then you're obviously angry at yourself just right away. You're obviously in a state of anger at yourself for any kind of anything, right? And so that can't be a state of response. If the first state of response has to be like, okay, something more like some more responsive rather than reactionary, right? Living in more of a responsive consciousness rather than reactionary consciousness. And so it's like, something that I've gotten really, really good at is seeing everyone is equal and everyone is like deserving, and just like I don't have a problem. It's super easy for me. And so like, I just hold that all the time for everybody, and I feel if others did that too, right, then eventually everyone would have equal energetics, and then there wouldn't be any lack or want or any kind of sillinesses anymore on the planet, because everyone would actually share correctly. It's like a bunch of beings playing catch with each other, throwing the ball back and forth, and there's supposed to be more sharing, proper sharing, and that's being a good friend, right? You can't like catch a ball, throw it in your pocket, catch a ball, throw it in your pocket. That kind of a mentality doesn't keep the body working. Like if you think about a heart or how the body functions or any kind of thing, it's like we have to actually, based on the actual hardware of what our bodies are, even though it's not technically hard. But anyway, based on the actual mechanism of what our bodies are and what our beings are and everything, we're meant to share energy back and forth. We're meant to share from point A's to B's. Okay, it's really important that everyone comprehends that, because, like, if you don't comprehend that, then you're missing life. It's a really important thing, right? It's about life is about sharing. It's sharing and expressing. It's like all the energy that the sun gives right? All that energy is returned. Right? It's a big cycle. It's a big circling cycle. Yeah. Well, like, the reason why it's easy to be stable in yourself is because yourself is stable. Right? Your real, your being, it is. It's just the concepts, the mind stuff, the blah blah blahs, the conditioning, that stuff. That stuff makes more like, wow, right? And so it's about learning how to, like, what's true to your being and expressing it, because that's you being a friend to yourself. Because if you're holding a bunch of ideas and stuff that aren't helpful to you at all in your life, they don't help you to be kinder, to respect your body more, respect others more, or to, like, just in general be creative, okay? So if there's something that limits your creation, then that's something that everyone needs to look at. But here's the thing, okay? Affliction, okay, it happens to the good people most of the time, like, okay, in all reality. But karmas and, like, kind of the basically body degradation and different things, that happens to everybody, no matter what. Like, so even if someone gets away with some stuff for certain patterns and stuff for a bit, they eventually, from their patterns, if they don't correct it, their bodies break down. Okay, like, it's simple universal math. It really is simple universal math, okay? And so that's the biggest issue, that beings don't realize that they're working against themselves by their own thinking, like, in a real bad way, not just in a little way, like in a bad, and I guess I shouldn't say it bad, but it's kind of sad. It's really sad, because they shake their bodies apart. They literally, they lose their ability to be to have a body, because of their thinking, the way that they respect themselves. Ultimately, they're not a good enough friend to themselves, and because they're not a good enough friend to themselves, their own bodies go, ah. And then they can also, through intense whatever, create really in bad situations. And then there's also fear processes and stuff like that, where you create your own demise based on different systems. which is interesting if you really think about it, that everyone is creating their life and their death by the way they think. So it's about learning how to plug into your truest electrical system, so that you can, like, be in life. Ultimately, to be in your excellence, and, like, to be in your, like, your space where everything just is, like, really smooth and flowy, even if there's hardships. Even if there's really intense stuff that's going on, you still just kind of flow through it, and you go, well, all right, and you just kind of take it on the chin, kind of thing, and you kind of go through it, and that is you being your best friend. See, like, I'm my own best friend, right? And so I know what it's like to be kind, and so you make a mistake, hey, it's okay, just keep at it, oh, you don't accomplish something that you think you should or whatever, oh, whatever. It's just, but you also changing goals, because beings have to change some of their agendas. So, like, anyone that has nasty agendas against themselves should change it, because it's against yourself, right? And so it might be a different body, but it's still, we're all the same universe. Reality is reality. So it's kind of like that. That's why no one escapes those bad actions, because they're bad actions against yourself. And how can you escape it? It's like poo, 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 right? Like, energy, it creates a wave pattern that cancels itself out. Anyway, so yeah, like, living and dying and being respectful is all a part of the whole thing. Like, being a friend to yourself. Like, it's really important to be kind to yourself. Like, and that does not mean that you can't be rough and tough and gruff, but it means you have to have the right intention. You have to come from the right place, and you have to, like, seek a positive change and seek a positive growth and create systems that are useful. And that has to be a motive, right? And so that's what really makes a friend. Like, that's really is the truest, and it can't be fake. It has to be real. It has to be a burden that they willingly take themselves. Like, someone go, okay, I'm going to take the burden of choosing to be a friend to myself, and therefore a friend to others. And I'm going to choose to be this way according to this principle, and that way according to that principle. You're consciously creating your being by looking around you and finding out what's actually really effective and what's nice, what actually is helpful, and, like, because being nice is being helpful. I look at it that way. See, some beings, they try to take advantage of a nice person, but what they don't realize is they're taking advantage of themselves. So what they're taking advantage of their own love. But if they didn't have that, then they wouldn't really know ever. So that learning of that is what helps them to grow from it. So there had to be the both side kind of pattern, back and forth thing. It's for everyone to realize everything, right? And so this is all just our learning and our growing and our being and our seeing, our unfolding of our universality, and us learning to be kind to ourselves for the right reasons, because it's ourselves. See, like, I just can't even conceive of not being loving to myself. It's like mind-boggling, man. Like, there's moments where certain beings, like, they can cause some sort of agitation, and I get a little bit agitated, but that's it. Like, that's it. Like, I'm settled in myself. I don't need to be anything else. I don't desire to create some sort of other thing. I just, I'm happy with, like, obviously, I'm not, like, I'm not okay with all the children in this just insanity going on, okay? That's obviously crappy, and that stuff everyone who's doing it and stuff could definitely change their frickin' tune, because they're doing it to themselves, so that would be called intelligence. So, right? If you really want to look at it on a universal scale, when you're attacking your own hands, you're attacking your own feet, you're attacking your own whatever, you're attacking your own. Doesn't matter. If there's this idea placed around it, doesn't change it. Like, it's not really a game. It's life, all of our lives, okay? It's like fear has adopted it into a game to justify the behavior patterns, which is just, that's like the same as just someone living in a video game, right? And that's not real. We're not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be kind and loving to each other. Because we're brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, and sons and daughters, right? So it makes absolutely no sense to actually limit your potential to live for ideas like that, for any ideas. It's like, okay, so here's a story. The story of two waters, okay? There was this people, they lived in this village, and about 5 kilometers out of the village there was some waters, and it surged past. And they would collect their water there because right there on the banks there, this guy was mad one day, and he put a sign and he said, "Don't you dare go past this water, you drink this water only. Only this water." Right? And so they just did that. They were afraid, and they never went anywhere else. They just drank that water. That was the water that they drank. And then, as generations went on, and they really didn't thrive to what they needed to. Right? Eventually, beings got more courageous in themselves, and so eventually some young ones spanned over, and they found just over the way, the nicest, most wonderful source of water that could ever be, right? And so what they did is they actually convinced the village to move to the other side, and so everyone lived over there by the clean water. Ta-da! And everyone was happy and filled with joy and filled with laughter, and they had what they needed, and there was no struggle anymore. There was no fighting over systems where they're weren't in alignment with themselves. The biggest confliction, it's just it's bondage in a way, is that beings have an idea of what they are, and it literally is kind of not in sync with the actual electrical system of their body. So they're out of themselves in a way. And so their body's sending signals between the two kind of idea systems, and it literally is and it literally causes stress. It really causes stress to them because of their beliefs and the way that they function. See, it's like someone's functioning in fear and their heart is love. They're ping-ponging, basically, in a way. They're literally taking they're sending it between these two extremes, and their life is so cut short. It's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be in love and live in love, and send your energy field in a balanced rhythm pattern in yourself in love, rather than being a fault, something different, something that's not in alignment with your actual being, right? Everyone's got to get into their beings and what they are, their actual what is this, it's yes, it feels it feels like flesh and everything, but it's energy, right? And so getting into the energy of you, of what you really are, is a part of being your friend, because you get close and personal. It's what does my energies need? What's going to sustain? What's going to actually facilitate heat or cooling or regulation of this and keeping these going? What's going to do this, right? And so those are important systems, important thought systems that beings are that they need that in order to logically make plans to actually do things useful. Right? So if you're going into a space and you have to make sure everything is done perfectly to whatever, You got to kind of go, make it plan it, right? Okay? So you want to do that logically with your life, with how you're a friend to yourself. Like, really, you want to be really loving. Like, if everyone knew how much I loved them, myself, at them, it'd be easier. Life would be easier for everybody. It's just that you guys don't know me yet, totally. Some of you do, I think. You know yourselves as much as you, like. It's just like the world will eventually. We'll all know each other fully. We'll all be family. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be family, right? Because we are family. We come from some different blood lineages and different things and different systems like that, obviously. But we're still one universe. And that don't change. That doesn't change. It's never changed. It can't change. That's one of those truths that, you can like sit on. It's like a solid cube. It's a solid cube, that one. I could sit on that one for all eternity. So, brothers and sisters, being your friend is a personal job and then an outward show. Okay, so you do the work inside, so you get rid of belittling, you get rid of negative thought systems, you get rid of patterns of fear, you get rid of limiting stuff where anyone told you that you couldn't accomplish things, and you just say, that's bull, I can accomplish whatever I set my mind to, and you really be positive, and you have positive creations in your being, and you fill it with those, because those are what are in alignment with what you really are. Anything negative, limiting, destructive, like that kind of stuff isn't actually truly in alignment with you as a being. You might have learned some of those patterns. You might even think some of this, like you might have a lot of it. Your life might be full of it, maybe. Who knows? But it's still not you, because as a baby you were born perfect, right? Perfect little babe, right? So that's how everyone really truly is at their truest core of who they are. And so being able to consciously decide to align with that innocence, you're basically getting your innocence back in a way. If you really want to look at it. Right? You're like combating your sin in a way. You're the way that you strayed away from the straight and narrow, right? The straight and narrow is basically your respecting of yourself, of your being, first and foremost, and then out, right? And that's kind of like one of the biggest misconceptions that beings get, is that they live in a thought-based reality rather than like in a presence-based reality. Right, there's a big difference. You can think well in presence, right? You can process. It's like looking at a sketchboard and being like, right, right. But then there's a difference, because you can have automated thoughts when you're outside of presence, and it ruins your life and controls you. Like it controls beings to the no end, where they can't even sit down and just chill. Like they're on that that train, going quickly, not knowing where they're going, right? And what joy is that? Is that fun? Does anyone enjoy that? Raise of hands. Anyone? Does anyone enjoy running around ragged? Anyone? No one. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought. No one likes that stuff. Yeah. So let's create some respite for ourselves, and kindness and love, and be kind and generous, and be supportive, and no longer purposely work against each other in any way. Like, it's as simple as a choice. Like, it really is as simple as just being like, hey, I'm gonna actually be really beautiful, amazing, and wonderful. I'm gonna respect my heart. I'm gonna respect my brother's heart, sister's heart. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure kids are happy, make sure they're fed and taken care of, and the world is beautiful, right? And so you make that decision, and it like opens up this floodgate of energy. It opens up the truth of you to the level of your deepest you. Because what agenda on this planet's more important, okay, than you healthy? I don't know any agenda that's better than taking care of yourself. Okay, so that's a good logical. That's an ace. Okay, I love you all as I love myself. So I bless you a billion trillion times fold, and be kind and tolerant and patient, and focus on the good things, and look past the bad of your brothers and sisters, and see the good that they are truly, even though they act as whatever. Just love them, because, like, obviously don't let anyone hurt you. Defend yourself, and under any and all circumstances, just never be an instigator, never be unloving. Be loving. Okay, like, what would love do? Like, love's in a circumstance. Like, why would love want to hurt itself, right? Why would love be wanting to go cause more harm when harm causes harm and healing causes healing, right? So, like, to perpetuate more hurt it doesn't actually make any sense. So you want to limit hurt as much as possible. As much as possible. Because it's like, it's you. You're doing this to yourself, right? You're in an experience with yourself, in a relationship with yourself. And so everything is yourself. So everyone is yourself, everything. So if you can't be kind to that, to you, just like you, it's a sucky, right? But I know everyone can be. It's just about learning, right? This takes practice. It takes practice. Desire. Desiring to be kind, desiring to be nice, and like, that doesn't mean take shit. That doesn't mean be a pushover. Okay, that's just, seriously, it's not being a pushover. You're just saying, you laugh at the sillinesses of the other stuff because you see over it, you see past it. It's just like, it's show. You just know. You're like, you want the best. You're done with any of that other stuff. You're just like, hey, everyone deserves water and air and food and shelter and joy. And that's that. And you just have, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't be swayed from loving anyone, taking care of anyone. You don't look at a forest and go, oh, see those beings in that part of that forest, don't like them. No, you don't do that. You can't do that. Because that's like, that's unloving. It doesn't make any sense. Seriously, it doesn't make sense. Because you're looking down on your being. Because you're everyone and everything. So if there's a certain group of beings that are less than whatever, then you still love them. You don't ever look down on them. You do the best to limit hurt. To limit harm. That's the best you can do, right? You don't seek harm. You don't seek hurt. You don't want any of that. Because why? Because then you're just causing more harm for yourself. Yeah, jeez. I wish you all the best. I love you. You have a good everything, and we'll talk soon. Message me, beings, if you want to message me. Message me. Message. You can message. Blessings.